Welcome back to Hands-on iOS Development. In the previous lecture, we successfully built the page view controller that we can slide indefinitely, either moving forward or going reverse. Now we're going to have this page view controller to scroll automatically, and we're going to use some kind of timer that makes the page to slide indefinitely moving forward. Alright, so let's open our home view controller. And I'm going to create a new function that will be used to get the promo content view controller as the page automatically slides. So let's create a function below this one. I'm going to call this private function load next controller. And to help keep tracking which index that the page currently on, I'm going to create a property that will be used as a global index. I'm going to call this var current index with a default value of 0. Now back to our function. So because this is going to load the next controller, so we're going to increase the index by 1. So we can just do current index plus equal 1. And now we're going to check if current index equal the count of our image, then it's going to set the current index back to 0. Meaning if already reaching the last image on the array, then we're going to move the index back to the first image on the array. And then the next thing, we want to get the next controller based on the current index. So let next controller, we're going to call the get view controller, the private function that we have here, and we're going to pass in the current index. Then the next thing, we will set the page view controller. So self page view controller dot set view controllers, and we're going to pass in our next controller. And then the direction, just press enter, and then we want direction to move forward. Animate it true and completion nil. And then we're going to use this function on the timer that we're going to set. So on the view did load, I'm going to set our timer, and we can use the timer object. So timer, and then we call the scheduled timer, and we want to select with the time interval and with the target. And for the time interval, this is going to be in seconds. I'm just going to set it like 5 seconds. And the target is going to be self, which is the home view controller itself. And now for the selector, this is where we're going to call the function that we just created. And the way we set the selector, we put the pound sign and then the word selector. Now we're going to call the load next controller, and we need to use the home view controller as the reference, then dot load next controller. And then the user info, there is none. And the repeats, we want this to repeat indefinitely, so set to true. And let's check what warning that we have here. So Xcode suggests add objc to expose this instance method to Objective-C. So this is just in case we want to use that same selector called from the Objective-C code. So we just follow the suggestion. So it's adding the prefix on the function. So now let's test this app. And we're going to see if the page is sliding by itself or not. Let's wait for 5 seconds. And indeed, it's sliding. So every 5 seconds, we get presented with a different promo content view controller.